Good evening, and welcome to Social Discourse, where we unpack the most pressing issues affecting our communities and economy. I'm your host, Sarah Lynn. Tonight, we're discussing how a shrinking economy can affect the standard of living generally. What happens to jobs, to housing, to families when growth slows or reverses? Joining us are two experts who bring both economic and grassroots perspectives. First, we have Dr. Marcus Ellison, an economist and research fellow at the Global Policy Institute. Welcome, Dr. Ellison.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. Glad to be here.
And also joining us is Rachel Kwan, community advocate and director at the Urban Wellbeing Network. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure.
Dr. Ellison, let's start with the fundamentals. When we say the economy is shrinking, what does that actually mean, and why does it matter?
Great question. A shrinking economy typically refers to a decline in gross domestic product, or GDP, over a sustained period. It often means businesses are producing less, consumer spending is down, and unemployment begins to rise. This matters because it signals that people and companies are tightening their belts, which has ripple effects throughout society.
And Rachel, from your perspective working in communities, how does that economic contraction show up in real life?
It shows up in very personal ways. Families start skipping meals, struggling with rent, and facing unstable job conditions. Services get cut, wages stagnate or fall. What feels like a macro trend in the headlines becomes a daily burden at the individual level.
Let's dive deeper. When the economy contracts, how exactly does the standard of living change, Marcus?
Standard of living can decline in multiple ways. Fewer job opportunities, reduced access to quality healthcare, education cuts, and higher costs for essentials. Governments often collect less tax revenue, which can lead to austerity measures that further harm public services. It becomes a vicious cycle.
Rachel, do you see certain groups being hit harder than others?
Absolutely. Marginalized communities, low-income families, immigrants, single-parent households often bear the brunt. They have fewer savings, limited access to credit, and weaker safety nets. And when services get cut, they lose lifelines others might not even notice.
So, what can be done to cushion the blow? Are there policies or community actions that help mitigate the drop in standard of living?
Governments can act decisively stimulus packages, infrastructure investment, progressive taxation. Central banks can lower interest rates to encourage spending. Long term, we need structural reforms that build resilience, affordable housing, access to healthcare, and reskilling programs.
At the community level, local support networks are vital: food banks, housing co-ops, mental health services, but they need funding. One of the most effective tools is empowering local voices to guide policy, not just top-down decisions.
We're almost out of time. Final thoughts. What's one thing you want listeners to take away from this discussion?
Understand that economic decline isn't just numbers, it's real human consequences. But we're not helpless. Smart, compassionate policy can soften the impact and lay the groundwork for recovery.
I'd say stay informed, stay engaged. Communities are more powerful than they think, especially when we push for fair and inclusive responses to economic challenges.
Thank you both. This has been a rich and important conversation. Dr. Marcus Ellison, Rachel Kwan, thank you for joining us. And thank you to our listeners. I'm Sarah Lynn, and this has been an incredible social discourse. Until next time, stay curious and stay connected.